Like, we talked with Tim about the fact that, you had noticed at Flag that, there was some abusive language and abusive behavior going on with the Sea Org.
Yeah.
And it kind of it was bothering you a little bit. You stepped up and tried to maybe even protect your word clearer.
Yeah, I got between me and that guy.
Right. And that you had been reflecting on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that wasn't enough to, you also mentioned that you didn't want to know anything bad about David Miscavige or what was going on.
God, no. You were never... Chris, you're never supposed to know anything bad.
Right.
And if something is bad, it's because of that person deserved it or that person pulled it in. It's their problem.
It's a fail-safe
Yeah.
philosophy. Yeah, you are programmed. If anybody says something negative, they're wrong.
What is that programming that you're talking about? Like, describe that a little bit more.
I just kind of had this realization, epiphany. A couple days ago, I was telling Tim, I said, a married couple, devoted, loving, oh my gosh, they take a bullet for each other. But if somebody said to one of the spouses, I think they're doing something bad. There's something illegal or there's something, unethical occurring here in your relationship and you should check it out. Well, they probably would. They might get a little huffy about it. How dare you say that about my spouse? But there would be a flicker of doubt. In Scientology, it's not there. If I were to say, you should check this out, I think there's something unethical. There might be financial irregularities. They wouldn't check it out. There's no way. And I thought, wow, there's a stronger devotion to Scientology than there is a spouse.
Mm-hmm.
And it's programmed. It's from the very beginning. You were asking me what put doubt there.
Mm-hmm.
Since I was 13, there was doubt. But I dealt with the doubt.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that kept me from diving in with both feet because it didn't seem quite right. And the people around me, though they were nice, didn't seem quite right or quite sincere. Everything seemed to be an effort. And it just didn't come naturally. It didn't feel natural. And anyway, help me out.
So you had these doubts from early on, before you guys were even hooked up.
Yeah.
What kind of doubts? What was sort of, like you mentioned, it's sort of forced smiles and stuff, or like what are you observing that you thought was?
Everybody always wanted something from me, even from the age of 13. So it's kind of like you feel like the same feeling when you walk into a used car dealership. Everybody's really nice. Can I get you coffee? It's always, but there's all they're doing is they want something from you. It wasn't because they sincerely cared about your well-being, though they'll tell you that because they care about the whole planet. But it's bullshit. They want your money or they want you to volunteer. They got to get their stats up. They've lost sight of the big picture. Mm-hmm. And it's all about Thursday at 2, when stats are due.
So you already had that idea from early on, but it wasn't so much so that you were like, okay, I don't want to have anything to do with this because you felt like it was still doing
They're
something
still good people. They really are. They're still some of the nicest people I've ever hung out with. But there's just that quirky thing, So for me, it was a relief if I could have a backyard barbecue, pop a beer, put it in their hand, and then I felt like I'm going to get the real person here in about 10 minutes when that takes. They'll relax,
Right. Okay. So did this, so then when you came into the relationship with Tim, though, he'd been on staff, he was pretty dedicated, he was going to courses and stuff, he wanted to go clear. What was your attitude at that point about Scientology?
I was on course as well.
Uh-huh.
And I think, for me, it's always been over there. I think some people immerse themselves in Scientology. Everything is Scientology, Even, L. Ron Hubbard wrote a policy on how to wash your windows. Everything was per LRH. For me, it was over there. If I needed the information, I would just go get it.
Mm-hmm.
The attraction to Tim was, single dad. He's cute. And our communication, the same reality just clicked. 2 Lego pieces just went.
Right. Okay, good.
And
okay, fair enough. So then, so you guys get shacked up, etc. When does more doubt start entering in for you, or what happened that you started going,
I think the first flickers, I credit my kids.
What happened?
They're young teenagers coming to me with their own philosophies on life, late night kitchen discussions. And I was like, boy, that's not LRH. They'll figure it out, But then I thought, no, that's so condescending to my own children, to tell them that they're wrong or blasphemous or anything, because they were coming up with a whole completely different idea about life and where we came from and why we're here. And what am I going to do? Tell them they're wrong, Tell them they're in treason, because that's not what LRH says. That's ridiculous, but that was the flicker. But then I think the real chink in the armor, was 2007, when a fellow by the name of Creed Pearson got declared. And Creed had been a friend of mine pretty much since I first arrived in Clearwater. And I knew what kind of guy that he was. He's quirky, but highly intelligent, devoted family man, and very capable. The guy was a millionaire. Big, huge house in Bel Air, beautiful wife, 3 beautiful kids, successful, and very giving to the community. He would write a check, to anybody who needed money. He would help them out. And when he got declared, I had been out of touch with him for a while. It blew my mind. And I actually stopped by his house, left a note, and said, hey, some of us care. And then I immediately had tried to find somebody who did, besides myself. I got on the phone with, can I say names?
If you want.
Well, Tim Cron, who was the best man at our wedding, I knew he knew Creed, called him up. He didn't want to touch it. He goes, nope, sorry, I can't. I'd love to help you, but I can't talk to Creed. Creed's been declared. Ann Manier, the executive director at the mission, said, fuck Creed Pearson. Those were her exact words.
Yep, pretty much.
Fuck Creed Pearson.
Wow.
And it shocked me. And, I later found out why, but we don't need to go there.
Why was he declared? Or could you tell me why first off, why were you told he was declared?
Oh.
Multitude of things.
No one ever told me why he was declared. But they had other things to say about him. They fair gamed him.
Oh, okay.
Creed told me he was declared simply for questioning. He was finding irregularities in the revisions, that were coming out. This guy, he was a pretty devoted Scientologist. He had gone through his grades twice
yes.
on his nickel, but several people have done that.
Right.
But he pointed out to me in one of the Congresses, Spirit of Man, where L. Ron Hubbard claims to have killed America's favorite general, which is, of course, why he got in trouble with the U.S. government in the first place. Of course, this was going to be a past life experience, Battle of Breeze Hill, marches up the Breeze Hill and kills General Prescott. And, you're listening to the tape or whatever, so you go to the glossary, and gosh, it's not even in the glossary. So you go to an encyclopedia, and it's not in the encyclopedia. But there's a Colonel Prescott who fought at the Battle of Breeze Hill. But he didn't die there. So L. Ron Hubbard lied. He didn't die there. He didn't get killed. In fact, he died 20 years later of natural causes. So for me, oh my gosh, what? The Messiah is a liar? No, this has got to be a mistake. Mm-hmm. But no, you can confirm it with an encyclopedia. And the freaky thing was, I took it to a couple of OT8s, this information, and they were like, they didn't want to look at it. No. I'm sure it's wrong. But it was very odd that General Prescott or Colonel Prescott was not in the glossary of this. In
the glossary of the
yeah.
transcripts, right? Because they have extensive glossaries of all the various words and things that you're supposed to look up, because it's a big deal in Scientology to look up anything you don't understand or need additional information about.
Right.
And yet that's a glaring omitted.
It is.
in the glossary.
Yep.
That's interesting. I'm also want to highlight the reaction of the OT8s. No, that must be wrong.
Yeah.
Right? It can't be Hubbard who's wrong.
Yeah.
It's unthinkable.